Hi, I'm James from Chaosium. I sat down with Mike Mason and we talked about how to win Call of Cthulhu. Now, I know what you're thinking. You can't win Call of Cthulhu. It's not what you do. You're right. This is just a thought experiment. It's a bit of fun, and we're having a bit of a laugh, theory crafting the perfect way that you might be able to create an investigator and like dive in and speed run, if you will, a Call of Cthulhu scenario. I started off by asking Mike, how do you create the optimal investigator? So I'll jump across to that interview now, but first, remember to subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.
Okay, I'm going to play along. So you want an investigator that can do some stuff, is good at doing a bit of stuff, and knows other people that can do all the stuff that they can't. Yeah. So, for instance, a private detective is a great kind of setup for this kind of style of character, because one, they have a reason to become involved in mysteries. Two, they can do a bit of investigation, so they've got the kind of core skills of spot hidden, listen, stealth, so on, and they've probably got relatively average or above average brawling skill. Maybe they've got a firearm kind of thing. So they've got the basis. They're the kind of a fairly good package of they can handle combat, and they can do a bit. They can deal with people and investigate. And potentially they have a number of contacts, so they can go and find somebody, a professor who's an expert on languages or whatever, and bring them in to help them out. So that, that's a pretty good setup. I guess the other one is a professor, the obvious one, professor who knows about a subject really well, like an archaeologist or a languages or I don't know, Latin or whatever. Yeah. But they're an expert on that kind of thing, or maybe they're into comparative religion, so they've got really good higher cult skill or something like that. And so they've got that kind of natural inquisitiveness. So a mystery presents itself, and they kind of like can't help themselves but get involved because they want to know the truth. They want to know what's there. So those kind of characters are pretty good all-rounders in that way. If you want to approach the game in that fashion.
So taking this example a step further, you get dropped into your average game of Call of Cthulhu. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but nothing specific. What kind of tactics do you want to use from the get-go to start unraveling the mystery, to try and figure out what's going on, to try and get stuff done?
Okay, so I'm presuming you're playing with more than one player in the group. There's at least 2 or 3 or 4 of you, let's say. So number one, it's got to be teamwork. If you're not prepared to work together, then you're going to fail, and probably going to all end in madness and death, quite probably. So teamwork is key. Being able to divide your skills and talents and time and work together is ultimately what it's about. So, it's part of why we play a role-playing game, because it's nice working with people and enjoying it together. So teamwork, and basically using your character skills in an advantageous way. So if your character is the one who's got the best spot hidden, maybe putting them outside the market stall that you're trying to watch because you think it's a front for some cult, putting them down the road, keeping an eye out on them because they've got the best spot hidden, is probably the way to go. Whereas the person with the good library use, so you want to do some historical research on what was in that location before the market opened, what was actually there before. We'll send the person with the highest library use down to the library and dig out the history. So use of resources, and a rationale for how to make the best use of the skills you have.
So it's kind of, what your character can do, what they're capable of, try and make the most of their abilities and approach the situation in a way they'll be good at.
Yeah. Play to your character's strengths. Obviously, I'm looking at this purely from a statistical viewpoint, as in what's written on my sheet, what am I good at, what can I do? Obviously, there's a whole layer of character and role-playing that we're not talking about. That, what's really cool and what you're going to get the most out of it is if not only you apply those kind of principles, but you apply the story, your character's story arc to that as well. Why are they doing this? Why don't they want to sit outside the market stall and watch it? Because because they're going to have to sit in this, I don't know, this pet shop that's full of tarantulas that are on sale, and they've got a fear of spiders. And it's nothing to do with the plot, but it's really cool character plot. It's, I don't want to go to the pet shop. Please don't make me go to the pet shop. But you're the best person to do it. There's a whole kind of role play thing going on there that could be really cool. And then there's lots of ammunition for the player and keeper. Then if they eventually go to the pet shop and they're sitting there and then they fail their push roll for whatever they're trying to do, and then tarantulas start crawling over them, it's going to be interesting and something's going to happen. So ultimately, I guess what I'm trying to say on that point is push your character to do stuff. Make your character do things, because if your character does things, it's likely to lead to drama. And drama is why we play a role-playing game, because drama is what makes it fun, because drama means something is happening. Because in the role-playing game where nothing happens and we don't do anything and we don't make things happen, it's really dull because nothing happens. We just sit here waiting for something to happen, and that's really dull. So to get the most out of the game in terms of winning Call of Cthulhu is getting involved in the game. Make your character, your character doesn't have to be, the best at everything, doesn't have to win everything. Some of the best characters I've ever played, the characters always fail their roles. They're all rubbish at doing, even though they've got, relatively decent skills, they always fail them when the chips are down. So I always push my rolls. I always spend all of my luck as quickly as possible because I want my character in the most vulnerable position, because that means more is going to happen. It's going to be more dramatic. Some of the best games I've had is where my character has been the one sacrificing herself at the end to, so that their friends can live, or the earth gets saved, or whatever, but my character gets eaten. I lose, but I win because I had a great game and it was a great story, and rah, rah, rah.
To follow up on that idea of the fun part being failing and the fun part being everything going wrong, how about a question that doesn't just apply to trying to win Call of Cthulhu, but to just playing the game in general? When stuff starts to go wrong in a campaign, when the monsters are coming out of the ceiling, when the car won't start, when everyone's going insane except for you, or you're going insane as well, what's your advice to players then? Run
away. Run away. No, if it's all going wrong, if you've tried your best, but to be honest, have failed. Something's happened. The roles have failed. You blurted, you blurted something out to the cultists and revealed that, you've revealed your hand. The cultists now know that you're onto them, so they're now onto you. They're after you. You're in a dire situation, and literally, you're probably all going to die because there's cultists coming with guns and shoggoths, and there's no way you're getting out of this, without some miracle. So, at that point in the campaign, you have to ask yourself is do we want to end the campaign? Because literally we're at an end campaign point. We could end the campaign by having this all go up in flames. The characters all go out in a blaze of glory, but ultimately they fail the campaign. But it was a great story. And that if your group, as a group, decides that's the story you want to tell, then great. You've had a great campaign. It ended a bit prematurely, but it ended well. That's great. But most groups don't want to end it that way. They want to, they want to carry on. They want to get to the actual real end of the campaign. So at that point, what you have to do is like, okay, so what's the best we can do here? The best we can do is run away. Get the hell out of Dodge and go somewhere, lay low and basically reformulate your mission and plan. Now, don't be afraid as a keeper or as players if that laying low happens over the course of a few days, a week, a month, or even a year. Because, yeah, okay, the campaign may be as written. The campaign says in a year's time, the world will end, okay? But the circumstances of your campaign means actually what they need to do is they need to go and lay low for a year, recover. Someone's got a broken leg, so that's 6 months recovery, and so on and so on. Move, the keeper can move the campaign. Can have the cultists have moved on, done some new stuff that the players aren't aware of, but actually, the world didn't end. It isn't going to end now. It's going to end another in a year's time. You can move it around to make the campaign work for you and your group. But getting away, regrouping, maybe thinking, maybe we need some other people. We need to pull in some additional player characters, which could be like, which actually in game speak means we all roll up another character. We have two, and we're going to actually have the first lot are going to recoup. But they've recruited this other lot, and the other lot are actually going to carry on playing, get back into it, but a whole new load of faces that the cultists don't recognize anymore, but are being fed the information by the original PCs, who now become a kind of set of backup PCs for when the other lot screw up in the, when they go forward, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, it's all about story ultimately, and in written scenarios, published scenarios, there is a story there, but the story is meant to be flexible. It is meant to be adaptable by the keeper for how the game is going to play and how the players interact with that plot. And there's no one size fits all. And it's about taking the story that we present in the book, but making that story your group's own story. And so you're going to change it to some degree, even if it's only very minor, or it could be very significantly different. So running away and surviving to fight another day means your characters get to survive and fight another day, and you continue the game in that way too.